Hi guys, I thought I might do a little quick tutorial about using type and doing interesting things with type inside of Illustrator. So we don't have margins and so forth in Illustrator, but what I might do is just draw a box through sort of that simulates that margin that you would find in most printed materials. And what I'm going to do is try to simulate a double page spread here. So I'm going to go to the object and I'm going to go to the shape or the path, I beg your pardon, and divide that or split that into a grid. So right here, I can have, I hit the preview, I can have any number of columns and rows and things like that to simulate my magazine. I could create a grid, but what I'd like to do is just basically create a two-column sort of idea like this. And maybe I'll give it a little bit of a gutter just to simulate the internal margin or the internal gutter of a magazine. Beautiful. All right, so I'm going to apply some text in here. So I'm going to create a text box, maybe just there. That looks kind of good. And that's going to fill instantly with dummy copy. Now, all of this copy, as you can see there, I've got more copy than will sort of fit inside of that box. That red mark there, that's telling me that that text box is overset. So what I'd like to do is click on that guy there, command click on that little guy there, and I can see that my cursor's now loaded up with more text. So I can now click and drag out here to, you know, spill out that other bit of text. And now I've got all my text on the page and it looks really good. So I've got these linked text boxes. So that means if I was to change to a particular different font, something like that, they'll all change. So it's all completely linked. All right, cool. Some other interesting things we can do with type. So what I've done here is I've actually got some other bits and pieces on my screen just lying around on my desktop. I'm going to copy that PNG back to my file and I'm going to paste that in, Command V. What I'd like to do is have that text spill around that image, and that's something you probably want to do, or you do see that in some nice bits of graphics. That shape is selected and I'm going to go to Object and I'm going to use Text Wrap. Make. There it is. And so that means it's going to flow, my text is going to flow around my graphic, and it's just a nice way of breaking up text. This text is looking okay, but if we were to select the text box, we could also go to the type menu and change the area type options, which means that I can have two columns. So maybe I wanted two columns in this little piece here, and it just feels a little bit nicer, and I can reduce my gutter a little bit. So that looks good. Yeah, let's make that gutter a little bit more narrow. That looks good. So lots of stuff you can do in here. Okay, and that's good too. So maybe I'll do the same with that one. So type, area options, I can give that two columns, and let's see what that looks like. That looks pretty decent. And pop that down if you feel you want that to be better. Okay, that's good. Looking good. So maybe I want to drop cap. Maybe I want to move that guy over there. That looks a bit better. Maybe I want to put a drop cap in here. So I could get a piece of type here, and maybe that's a big letter form. That might be the start of a paragraph or something like that. And have him sit there, and I'm going to go type, object, text wrap. And I'm make, and there he goes. So there's my little drop cap thing there. Pretty decent. There's lots of things you can do with that. So that could work. All right, just one or two more things. So I'm just going to draw a shape like so. It's a path, just a simple path, and I can get my type. You click right on that guy and I can have text on a path. Very, very nice indeed. Text on a path. And that's an editable path. So whatever changes you make to that path, you can, that's going to update live. So that's text on a path. Really cool. Same with the text on a circle. So if I created a circle, maybe we're going to have a little circle here. Get my type tool, change that out this time. I want to make sure that I've got type on a path tool instigated right there. Clicking on that fella there, I get my type on a path. Very cool. All right, there's my magazine starting to look interesting. Some colour in there. Looking good. Fantastic. Text on a path, text on a circle. Also, I haven't covered, I might decide from time to time, I want to create a text box that has a unique shape. Maybe I want to put a little shape in here. I want to put a little shape in here, just a irregular path, something like that. Okay, I can nominate this shape to be a text box, and I'm gonna maybe get my regular text tool, and I can just hover inside of this shape here, and all of that shape will then conform to the shape that we set. So there it is there. The shape is now conforming to that irregular shape. Very, very cool. All right, probably the last thing I want to cover is the idea of creating outlines. If I had perhaps a letter form of some description, maybe I've got that, maybe it's in T, it's a logo of some sort. Let's just turn that up, make that a bit bigger. Look at this thing. Okay, this is some sort of logo, so I'm going to make it a fairly bold thing, just so we can see what's going on here. That'll do. Fine. I've got a logo. Now, I want to manipulate these letter forms. Okay, so I can scale them up and do sorts of cool things with them. Just put them over there for the time being. What I need to do is type and create outlines. So that's simply a text layer. Command Y, type, create outlines. And there it is. And what happens then is that shape, or that text, I beg your pardon, has now been converted to just simply paths. And that means that gives us so much opportunity to manipulate these shapes. So I've now deselected and I'm using my white arrow. I can select shapes and paths and turn this into, some sort of, maybe it's a logo or something around like that. So the selection of a piece of text and type converting to outlines will allow me to convert graphics into, or I should say text into graphics. So group those guys together. And I can put those in, so that's my graphic. Look, I hope that's helpful. Look, good luck. Type in Illustrator. Very, very flexible. A lot of cool things you can do with it, and I hope that helps. I'll see you in class.